One. So Melanie, hi, this is Barry. I'm here with Tom Hood. We're very much looking forward to meeting you and your academic leaders at UT-Arlington. We just wanted to provide you with this primer for our conversation for you to look at, really the why behind the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. So Tom, why don't you kind of just give a view of what we're seeing out there in the market in terms of emerging capabilities and competencies that business leaders are looking for in the corporate space? And then I'll say a few words knitting in the CGMA Finance Leadership Program and just providing some ideas for our meeting.
Awesome. Well, Barry, thank you. And Melanie, thank you for listening to us. I'm Tom Hood. I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Growth and Engagement for the AICPA-CIMA, with a direct focus of management accounting, professionalizing management accounting in the Americas. So we're honored to be here. A lot of this, what you're going to see, is our work with major corporate employers, as well as our middle market, all the management accounting CFO types in the market. So it starts with, we're now in a period of accelerating trends. In fact, it feels like research is telling us we fast forwarded 5 years through this pandemic, from e-commerce accelerating by 10 years to, obviously visual communications, but artificial intelligence, machine learning, RPA, all those things that have been working on finance are now moving at an exponential pace, and it's impacting our profession. Let's go to the next slide. And it's creating these top 3 issues that we're seeing consistently. And you're going to see how this translates into what employers are going to want from people coming out of school. So obviously this idea of keeping pace with digital, upskilling, and moving from just doing digital, plugging in technology, to being digital with what we call a digital mindset and a way of thinking about everything digital first. Roll stretch is this movement from, we call it rear view compliance orientation, to future view windshield. And it's stretching everyone through the pandemic as CFOs have been challenged to do more and more value creation and projections. And the third one then is, the result is there's a new set of competencies that are needed to help finance drive greater enterprise value. And we'll talk briefly about what that looks like. So this is a model of how we're thinking about this value process. And if you think from end to end from accounting, it starts with recording the information, turning it into insight, often that core financial reporting function. But let's go to the next part of this, Barry. It's the idea of then getting to influencing and impacting the business in a fast changing world. And so we're seeing a couple things happen. Let's go through the next part of that. As we've seen, automation maybe hasn't happened as fast in the past, but it might be coming faster now. But this talent performance gap is exactly where the roll stretch is happening, from things on the left. Let's click us forward one more, to things on the right. So the need for partnering for value. So it's a movement from a shift of a cost emphasis to a value creation emphasis by corporate finance. And that's where these different skills are coming in. So our goal is to help put people coming out of college into a position where they can move into jobs, significant jobs in corporate finance faster and move up faster. Next slide. And that gets to this idea, we call it a T-shaped professional. So we're building on the deep core technical function and knowledge or expertise, accounting, tax, all the corporate accounting type things are getting in college, and beginning to broaden their horizon with these boundary crossing skills that allow them to cross over into different parts of their organization and continue to think about how finance is impacting, moving out of silos and helping businesses or helping units across the business. So this, we've now kind of moved our CGMA Finance Leadership Program into this framework. And I think that's on the next slide that we're going to show.
It is. So that's kind of what we're seeing, Tom, aren't we, in the marketplace? And as a global association that serves over 650,000 people, we're continuously looking at what CFOs and what finance leaders need in the future from entry-level graduate staff. And that's where we got to the notion of the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And think of the CGMA Finance Leadership Program as a way for graduates to be able to harness their degrees and accelerate their work readiness, understanding all of the basic fundamental mechanics of accounting and finance, of which a lot might be automated these days, and really understanding that in a digital context, and then moving from the left to the right-hand side of that value slide that Tom just showed you. But there are three things here that I just wanted to reinforce about the actual program itself. Number one, it's digital, which means that there are amazing ways in which you as academics could really integrate this program and offer this program to your undergraduates and graduates. So digital. Number two, which I think is incredibly important, is its competency and scenario based. So it's almost like you're in the workplace when you're not. And what we find from graduates going into internships or interviews is it provides great case studies to help them support their answers around genuinely, how will I advise the business based on the financials that I know? And it's the blend of the competencies, the technical competencies in that vertical part of the T, and those more boundary crossing skills in the business, people and leadership, all embracing a real healthy understanding of leveraging technology. And then thirdly, focus on the real world, focus on application. Ultimately the designation is the end goal, but there are various different ways in which an individual can really apply their learning very, very quickly. And we'll talk about this more at the meeting, Tom, with Melanie and the others when we meet you. But this is the basic construct of the curriculum, all available digitally. Think of it like a game of tic-tac-toe. So there are 9 boxes, there are 3 rows and 3 columns. And the 3 rows really typify the levels of the program, moving from bottom to top. So bottom is around the fundamentals around partnering and the joining up the accounting, the finance, and the digital together. The management level, which a whole host of your undergraduates and graduates will probably be exposed to, takes that to a different level in terms of partnering and understanding some of the advanced financial reporting, FP&A and risk concepts, and how to operate within the context of the company on the left. And then the right-hand side is an amazing early leader boot camp. And the idea is that individuals need to go through all of these levels before becoming a CGMA, but they may gain credits based on the studies that they're doing. Plus the fact that it's chunked down into small digital chunks, which means that it's awfully flexible, awfully agile to use, and there are certificates that you can get along the way. And this is kind of what the Finance Leadership Program digital platform looks like. This is just a high-level shot of the front page that the learners will be exposed to, their learning dashboards so they can tailor their progress and their learning. A lot of academics use this to pinpoint different assignments and different learnings that individuals need to do to really complement. This is actually what the management level looks like on the platform. So those boxes are now being turned into colors of blue and orange and green. I've done the first 3 boxes there, Tom, which I'm actually really pleased about. I've been able to gain a skill certificate in that area. This is, for example, just a scenario playing out in front of your eyes. We very much teach pedagogically around scenarios, place people into those. We feel that that's a really great way to be able to amplify the learning and the application of it. And ultimately, this prepares people for an holistic end-to-end business case study, which really traverses and joins up the strategy, the business, the enterprise, the digital components, and the accounting as well. And there's one CFO that we recently spoke to called that the great join. You talked about silos, Tom. Individuals that can demonstrate the ability to look at a business end to end and to understand not only the finance, but the accounting implications downstream in the context of the business are going to be incredibly sought after. So that was a very quick run through of our primer for our conversation with you guys there at UTA. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to meeting you.
Yep. Thank you very much.